Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to the Issues on Voice of the People TV, where the heat is on and the stakes are sky high. I am your host, Jerry Arpeliohai, and tonight we're diving into the biggest political stories shaking our nation. Inec accused of shutting down new political voices ahead of 2027. The high-stakes trial of Nnamdi Kanu, a test for Nigerians' unity and democracy. And still more, where Senator Natasha Dwagan faces defamation charges against the powerful figures while our own party stays quiet. Join our expert panel of analysts as we break down what these issues mean for the future of Nigeria, from political power to democratic freedom and national stability. This isn't just news, it is a battle for the soul of our nation. Stay with us for the raw, unfiltered truth, and this is the issues, and you can't afford to miss it. As we go on a quick break, the issues, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's dive straight into today's discussion. The Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has dismissed claims of bias and blackmail from political coalitions seeking to register new parties ahead of the 2027 general elections. Inec emphasized that party registration is a constitutional and highly regulated process that requires full compliance with its guidelines, not public pressure. The Commission also refuted reports that it had registered two new parties, the Independent Democrats and the People's Democratic Movement, clarifying that both had been deregistered in 2020. Critics, including former Minister Rotimi Amechi and musician Seun Kuti, accused Inec of suppressing political diversity by stalling new party registrations. Kuti's group, the Movement of the People, cited a lack of political inclusiveness, while Amechi alleged the current Inec chairman would not have allowed the APC to be registered in 2015. Inec responded firmly, stating that only associations meeting the constitutional criteria and submitting verifiable documents will be registered. Inec's spokesperson reiterated that the requirements include a detailed constitution, a manifesto, proof of a national spread, and verifiable membership records. He stressed that the Commission evaluates applications strictly and transparently, and that no new party has been registered as of now. Inec affirmed its commitment to upholding electoral integrity and urged the public to ignore false reports. All right, today I'm delighted to be joined by two esteemed guests. Here in the studio we have Dr. Peter Adosike. Dr. Adosike is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He is also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Great to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And joining us virtually is Comrade Bobby Egosa Obayuana. He is a public affairs analyst and a political commentator. Good evening. Great to have you on the issues.
Good evening, Mr. Jerry. Good evening, Nigerians. I'm glad to be here as usual.
All right, let's start off with you, Comrade. Taking a look at the situation, this is very, very, very crucial. Is the government, or would I say is Inec, using this opportunity, because looking like they're trying to stifle political competition and entrench the power of the incumbent? With the way things are going, can we say that is the case and that is the position Inec is about taking? Because if that is the case, APC wouldn't have been registered when it wanted to register this political party. Why are we seeing opposition to people expressing their will to have their own political parties to challenge the government?
For me, INEC is becoming more political than political parties and politicians in Nigeria. Since 2018, this current INEC administration have not been able to register political parties. From 2018 till date, over 72 political parties have been deregistered. We have currently 19 political parties that are duly registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission. And with the way INEC is going, many persons are beginning to say that their guidelines are becoming more implicit and seem somewhat unclear to Nigerians. The spokesperson to INEC is coming out to say that political parties must fulfill constitutional requirements, and these constitutional requirements should fall within the ambit of the Nigerian Constitution of 1999 as amended, the Electoral Act of 2022, as well as the provisions for establishment and guidelines of political parties 2022. But in reality, these political parties have duly and constitutionally applied. If INEC is saying that these political parties should follow the guidelines, and they are also saying that during the process of registering, some political parties may pull out, they should, through a transparent mechanism, show to Nigerians the intending political groups that are unserious. All these forms of political jabberwockery, alternative facts, and half-truths that do not reflect sanity in our democracy from INEC just now are becoming too cumbersome and worrisome for Nigerians at large. This is no longer about Shehu Kuti. It's no longer about Rotimi Amechi. This is about the interest, the soul, the future, and the political prosperity of Nigeria. So if the Independent National Electoral Body cannot give a consistent, persistent, reflective, transparent, and accountable mechanism with which political parties should be registered to the admiration and to the commendation of the majority of Nigerians, then INEC as a body has failed us. Secondly, the publicity secretary of INEC is coming out to say that political parties should fulfill constitutional requirements. And he borders on some really salient situations that Nigerians have been questioning in recent times. The elections that have been held under this INEC administration, how many of them have been credible? How many of them have been transparent? The 2024 September 21st gubernatorial elections in Edo State still remains one of the most controversial elections in the annals of our political history from this part of the globe, where in places in Edo State, INEC officials refuse to adhere to INEC guidelines, allegedly. And it is only in this administration that people will take issues to court, citing Section 137 of the Electoral Act of 2022, which says that if you bring empirical evidence to court, you don't need oral evidence. INEC will come to court and refuse to say anything through its representative. So INEC, as an unbiased umpire that it should be to Nigerians, should stop playing political theatrics and chichidodo with the minds of Nigerians. The majority of Nigerians wish that INEC should give a clear guideline on how political parties should easily go through a registration process that should not be Herculean, or should not be too cumbersome, or should not be too difficult in terms of fulfillment of constitutional guidelines and special conditions. Inec, under Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, is adjudged to be one of the most controversial electoral bodies, not just in the history of Nigeria, but in Africa as a continent, from statistical data, from foreign experts analysis, from election observations in recent times. If a body like Inec cannot be able to register political party from 2018 till date, then I wonder what becomes of the future of our democracy. I wonder what becomes of the future of the political prosperity of Nigeria as a nation. Since 2018 till date, they have deregistered over 72 political parties. And currently we have just 19 political parties that are duly registered. INEC should please create an avenue for these groups to easily fulfill these conditions. And if at any point these groups do not show sign of political seriousness, they should not be given the opportunity for registration. But currently, these groups, through their agitation, are showing that they are willing to follow the process. So the stiff conditions by INEC should not reflect backdoor politics that many Nigerians are beginning to suspect.
All right.
Because for me and for us in Edo State, we want INEC to ensure that political parties are duly registered. They said that through their guidelines that they have over 100 days, at least a year to an election calendar year to register political parties. And 30 days afterwards, the political parties should bring certification reflecting executives of the organogram of the party and their respective geographical spread across the country. It is just 2 years before 2027. So INEC should not use any delay tactics to reduce the tendency of these political groups coming together to duly register themselves under the electoral body. Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrade. Very apt and broad there. And I believe that our viewers must have got one or two information on things they don't know before. But Dr. Anoske, are 19 parties enough going into the next election? And what does this mean for political parties who want to form coalition and have that coalition registered ahead of the 2027 elections? Because,
I understand what the young guy in Benin is saying, understand? But I don't really agree totally with him, understand? I know that INEC has become an extension of APC. INEC has become an extension of APC, especially Mahmoud Yakubu's INEC. The compromise, the complicity, the corruption in INEC has never been this bad. But the truth is that there are guidelines to registering a political party, which they enumerated. So I've not really, no political association now has come out to say that they have met those guidelines, and the INEC refused to register them. Understand? No political association has come out to say that they have met those guidelines.
They have. Some of them have come out, because even as at May, we had over 104 groups who wanted to register as political parties. And even we've seen Rotimi Amechi should not be taken as somebody who is not serious, for instance. Even Shehu Kuti, the son of the late Fela Kuti, has said that their groups have tried to register political parties, but INEC keep refusing them.
I have seen political associations, because for you to be registered as a political party in Nigeria, you must have spread. Understand me? You must have present offices in not less than 24 states in the country. And I have seen political associations that uses their residential houses as address. I have seen that.
Is that a crime? Is that a crime?
No, they say political, that they say offices, not residential houses.
If you turn your house to an office as a office of a political party,
no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Okay.
So most of these people, and okay, the 72 registered delisted parties. Understand? Why are they there for? This is just wasting of resources. When those parties were delisted is because none of them have even a councillor. Do you understand that? If any political party has a political office holder, there's no reason for delisting of the political party. So if you have 100 political parties in a country and only 10 have people in political offices, what are the remaining 90 doing? Understand me? So in order to save logistics and resources, those parties should be delisted. Even the 19 that remains now as we speak, how many of them have a representative anywhere, even in the wards? I mean councillors. Understand me? Not more than 5. Not more than 5 political parties. So the remaining 14, why are they there? Instead of what you should have done is you collapse into other political parties, because Inec gives money to these associations. I remember NNPP, which was formed by Dr. Aniebunam. Aniebunam, that is a very good friend. Until Kanu people took over NNPP, Aniebunam was using his office as a secretariat. That's what he's using NAGAF. He formed the NAGAF, understand me, which is a maritime body. Now using the same NAGAF office as NNPP secretariat. Does it make that any sense? So for me, as I said before, INEC has become an extension of APC. But the right thing must be done. If there are political associations that have met the guidelines or required by INEC, then refusing to register them is a problem. But the right thing should be done, even though Mahmoud and his gang has already made up their minds on the way 2020, on the way the election will go, which is no matter how people vote, APC candidates must win.
So what does that say about our democracy? Can
we are not practicing
survive under such
We
terms?
are not practicing democracy in Nigeria. What we are practicing is autocracy. What we are practicing in Nigeria is never the democracy. Democracy is dead in Nigeria. APC killed democracy. Assuming that we were in this situation in 2015, APC would not have been registered. But because Jonathan is a civilized person, understand? And that's why he wasn't putting that's enough interest on what INEC was doing at his time. Because Jega practically worked against him. Jega practically worked against him, and he still allowed it because he wanted the institutions to work. But the current people now are a different set of human beings. Understand me?
Okay.
So, the current INEC chairman is also has the same character with the people in APC. So that's what you cannot expect fairness from him.
Okay, before we leave this conversation, let me go back to Comrade. Can Nigeria's democracy survive without a strong, united opposition pushing back against the APC's political monopoly?
Of course, no. Nigeria's democracy can never survive under the reality of the autocratic system of government that we are seeing under the APC-led administration of Nigeria just now. That is why some persons have gone to town to say that the Professor Mahmoud Yakubu-led INEC team is a political representation of the ruling class, APC, personified in INEC. So what becomes of the future of the Nigerian democracy if they do not give opportunities for stiff, healthy competition, if they do not give opportunities and democratic grounds for dissenting voices to air their opinions? It is only in this country where speaking truth to power is seen as a treasonable offense in some certain contexts. And Nigerians are beginning to ask, what becomes of our political institutions? What becomes of the future of the Independent National Electoral Commission body, which should be an unbiased umpire in bringing sanity and the sanctity of truth, equity, fairness, balance, and a reflection of the Nigerian democratic dream in its dealings and activities? I don't think that the democracy of this country can survive under this administration, because it is already tilting towards not just the Bermudian Triangle, but retrogression in its entirety. And that is why Nigerians in their numbers have said, collectively, that they cannot solidarize themselves and fraternize with this renewed shege that has bedeviled our political institutions and our electoral body over time. INEC should begin to carry out its primary responsibilities of giving good, open, broadened latitude for political contestations to be held under a healthy democratic affair and environment. We don't want a situation where Nigeria, the apparatus of state, cannot safeguard the democratic dream of Nigerians in this generation and in subsequent generations. And that is why Nigerians are pushing for electoral reforms. That is why Nigerians are saying that there must be opposition. One party can never work in Nigeria. Nigeria is too great a nation to operate under a one-party system of government. And you call that democracy? Nigeria is too great for us to have a system of government that does not give room for opposition to air their dissenting voices. If democracy and if competitiveness in a sane democratic society must be upheld, Nigerians deserve a transparent and an open ground where governance, politics should be separated from governance, and politics should not be part of our electoral institutions. Because these institutions should give opportunities to Nigerians to believe in this democracy that is nascent and still in its baby stage. Nigerians deserve more from INEC, and what we need is a transparent body and not a political association that is an extension of the ruling class or the political party in power.
Thank you very much, Comrade. And of course, the fear of the independence of the INEC when a political party that has no respect for the rules of democracy and checks and balances has always been the issue. But now it's glaring. It's looking glaring every day. What is now the solution? Because It's supposed to be independent National Electoral Commission. But with what we are seeing a dependent National Electoral Commission.
Well, this is not even a dependent. This is a department of the executive. The INEC has become a department of the executive. They take orders from the executive. Before the Edo governorship election, Tinubu said, "If you want Edo, I'll give you Edo." That's what Tinubu said. If you want Edo, I'll give you Edo, which means it's no more of the people that vote. Power no longer belongs to the people. Power now belongs to the executive. That's why he can boldly say, "If you want Edo, I'll give you Edo." Then and he gave them Edo. Understand? Then Ganduje boastfully said, "We'll capture Edo, we'll capture Ondo." They are not talking about people. Use that word capture in military, not in a democratic setting. He said we'll capture Edo, we'll capture Ondo, to show you that they don't care about the people, whether they will vote or they will not vote. Understand me? So APC, INEC is now a department inside Aso Rock, and they take their minutes from Aso Rock. If Tinubu say register party A, they will register party A. If Tinubu say register party B, they will register party B. If Tinubu say don't recognize the secretary of party A, they will not. Understand me? And you cannot call this democracy. You can never call this democracy. So whoever thinks that Nigeria is practicing a democracy doesn't know the full meaning of democracy. We are no more practicing a democracy. This is autocracy. Understand? And for the National Assembly, which supposed to be, which has the responsibility of checking the executive, understand? Now also becoming a department of the executive. So the three arms of democracy, that separation of powers, is no more there. The legislature has been compromised, the judiciary has been compromised, and people are still calling this thing democracy. Even what Putin is practicing in Russia is what we are practicing here. What Xi Jinping of China is practicing is what we are practicing here. Understand? So democracy is dead in Nigeria.
Very interesting way to look at it. Let's go back to the next conversation, where the federal government of Nigeria has concluded its case in the terrorism and treason trial of Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. The prosecution, led by senior lawyer Adegboyega Awomolo, presented 5 witnesses, including a final witness identified only as EEE for security reasons. Awomolo told the court they were satisfied with the evidence, including broadcasts attributed to Kanu, and therefore decided to close their case. In response, Kanu's lead defense counsel, Kanu Agabi, informed the Federal High Court in Abuja that the defense would file a no-case submission. This means the defense will argue that the prosecution has failed to establish a sufficient case for Kanu to answer to, and that the trial should be dismissed without the defense presenting any evidence. Justice James Omotosho presided over the hearing and is expected to rule on the no-case submission once it is formally filed. The case continues to draw attention due to Kanu's controversial leadership of the proscribed IPOB group and the serious nature of the charges brought against him. Let me now go back to Comrade. Why has Nigeria failed to politically engage separatist sentiment instead of just prosecuting it? What does this reliance on security crackdowns say about the government's ability to manage national diversity?
For me, this is just a mere political theatrics from the government of the day. They should stop wasting the precious times of Nigerians. Whenever you mention the case of Nnamdi Kanu to an average man in the street, they'll be like, a case where the federal government, today they will say they have a case with Nnamdi Kanu, they will go to court and make statements that do not really represent validity in terms of provision of tangible evidence. They don't really reflect truth. They will argue in court over a case that many Nigerians have actually said that is becoming watery. There is no substantial evidence to show that what you are accusing this man of is that of treason, is that of terrorism. Nobody has ever been able to allege or establish the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is a carrier of guns, weapons of mass destruction, and every other thing that is a threat to national security. They only allege, until proven guilty in the court of law, that the man is a terrorist and that he is a threat to national integration. But the federal government council have failed to give tangible evidence. We cherish Nigeria as a nation. We love the peaceful coexistence of Nigerians. We love the national integration of this great country. However, the federal government should not be using political schematic ways to start bringing unnecessary, prevaricated, and convoluted legal processes and accusations that do not reflect truth in some cases that have been filed against this man. If it is in a case where he is not guilty, they should let the man go. If he is guilty, let him be prosecuted according to the law and let Nigerians have peace for once. I learned that they have also adjourned the case from now to on the 18th of next month again, which is July 18th. And this is how they will continue to drag this case till the end of this administration. Remember that these issues began in the Buhari-led administration, and it has been dragged over time. And many persons are beginning to question the competence of our justice system. In fact, if you mention judiciary in Nigeria now, many Nigerians will tell you that they are not interested, which has culminated into the high degree of political apathy over time. And that is why less than 25% of Nigerians over the past 10 years have come outside to vote in election periods across the country. So for me, let the constitutional process reflect transparency to all Nigerians. Let this period of trial not be too dragged for too long. Because in court today, one of the counsel that was speaking in favor on behalf of the federal government was tagged EEE. So alphabet and letters are becoming the representatives of an institution in a legislative process and in a judicial process that ought to reflect transparency. And they said that it's for security purpose. Good. Let them also use that mechanism to ensure that there is transparency in the entire judicial process. This period of trial should not be a period where selective justice is used to rule in favor of one party or the other. If Nnamdi Kanu is found guilty, let him be prosecuted according to the law. But in a situation where this man is not found guilty or those evidences leveled against him do not reflect tangibility and substance in terms of what those documents or those evidence should reflect, using the Evidence Act, then this man should be freed. Because this consistency of wanting to drag this issue and distract Nigerians or bore Nigerians with too many judicial burden or too many judicial higiaga or too many judicial what what we can even call rascality, because the thing is no
All right.
longer appealing to the majority of Nigerians anymore. Nigerians are tired of hearing this issue. If you are talking about economic development now, Nigerians will be interested. If you are talking about infrastructural development, Nigerians will be interested. If you are talking about job creation, Nigerians will be interested. If you are talking about creating a secure environment where every Nigerian voice matters and true democracy is practiced, and not the autocracy that we are currently witnessing in practicality and in empirical reality. Nigerians will be interested. But this issue now that they are postponing, tomorrow they will adjourn, next tomorrow they will adjourn, next month they will adjourn it to next year, next 2 years, perhaps next 3 years, next 5 years, 10 years time, 20 years time. At the end of the day, it's no longer making sense to our justice system. It's no longer making sense in the minds of the majority of Nigerians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, comrade. Very, very out there. Well, taking a look at it, why does it look like we've not learned from the way, let me say the government has not learned from the way they've handled talking about dissenting voices from the time of the Niger Delta militancy, from Boko Haram and IPOB, the cycle of conflict, the crackdown, and the denial keep repeating itself. Why does it seem so?
For me, different species of human beings are in power as we speak. Understand? We have had gentlemen, understand me, from 1999 to 2015, we had gentlemen, we had civilized people on board. Understand? When Asari Dokobo, Ateke Tome, Tompon, and others, we are doing their MEND movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta. What then Omar Musa Yaradua was the president. What he did was to tell Goodluck Jonathan, go to the creeks and appeal to the people to nail down their arms. Let us discuss. Jonathan, as a vice president, went with canoe into the creeks and talked to those boys. Nobody was arrested. Nobody was taken to court. Understand me? Nobody was arrested. Nobody was taken that to court. Every good government uses a carrot and stick. Understand me? And you must be using them. If this one is not working, you use this. So these guys went and appealed to them. They nailed down their arms. That's how this scholarship and other empowerment came on board. And since then, we have not heard this MEND or any other thing. So, but as I said, we have civilized people on board then. Understand? But now we have a different species of human beings. Assuming that APC was in power between 1999 and 2015, maybe they would have given an order that to go to Niger Delta and fire all those people. Understand me? But they use carrot and achieve what they want. The guys lay down all their arms, and some of them are now doctors. Some of them are now pilots, engineers. That's those that we are protesting, those that we are carrying gun against the government of the country. Some of them are now pilots. Some of them are now doctors. That's how leaders do. Understand me? A leader thinks of solution.
Okay.
But today you have a different set of people on board. Then on the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, personally, I don't like this case of this idea of no case submission. For me, personally, Kanu Agabi is a son. He has gotten to the pinnacle of the legal system.
Yes.
He was a former Attorney General of the Federation.
Yeah.
He's a senior advocate of Nigeria. But this issue will come up another day, and I'll still remind you what I said. I'm not comfortable with this no case submission because you are now leaving this thing to the judge to use his own discretion. You are now using, we don't have any defense to make. That's what case of no, they couldn't prove anything. Therefore, we're not going to defend anything. But you don't know whether what they said weighed on the mind of the judge. What I would have wished that since they have closed their case, you say we will start our cross-examination on so and so day. So those people that they brought there as witnesses, you cross-examine their evidences. Understand me? You cross-examine their evidences. Okay, there was one of them who said that Nnamdi Kanu told them to bring 2,000 heads. Understand me? To use to either to when Ikonso or whatever was killed in Imo. That Nnamdi Kanu told them to bring 2,000 heads, but they were able to bring 30. Somebody was saying this. Understand me?
As a witness?
As a witness.
Okay.
That they were able to bring only 30. And to bring somebody's head means that you have killed him.
Yes.
Understand me? So now how do we know if it was the judge Nnamdi Kanu that sent him or not?
Okay.
Because when that guy was killed, Nnamdi Kanu is already in detention. Then did he come to the DSS office for Kanu that to tell him? Understand me?
All right.
Then the DSS said that over 200 military men were killed because of Nnamdi Kanu said, and they submitted names. Understand? So, and you said that you are not going to cross examine
Those facts.
those allegations.
Those allegations.
But they are
sorry.
not facts.
Not facts. Sorry.
So
That's the
you are now leaving it to the judge to make his own decision. To me, it is risky.
Okay.
It is very, very risky.
You've not been comfortable with Agabi as his lead counsel from the onset, and I understand definitely your own submission as far as this is concerned. But we'll wrap it up today where suspended Senator Natasha Dwagan appeared at the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja on June 19, 2025 for arraignment over alleged defamation. The case filed by the federal government through the Director of Public Prosecutions accuses her of making damaging remarks during a live broadcast, and that was on TV. And since then, the charge alleges that Akpotu Dwagan falsely claimed that Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi Governor Yabelo conspired to have her assassinated. She reportedly questioned Akpabio's withdrawal of her security and accused him of plotting her death with Bello. Another charge involves a phone conversation in which she alleged that the murdered girl's organs were used to treat Akpabio's wife's claims. The federal government says were made with malicious intent. Akpabio, Bello, and 4 others are listed as witnesses in the trial, and it goes on and on. Of course, she was still eventually granted bail. The court proceedings are ongoing, and the senator has been granted bail. Because of time, comrade, just in 1 minute, what does it say about Nigerian democracy when a sitting Senate president is at the center of a criminal case against a fellow senator and remains politically untouchable?
For me, this is a blatant embarrassment on the reputation of the Nigerian judicial system and the Nigerian legislative system, not just on the reputation of the Senate president. Nigeria is too great a nation to have a controversial Senate president with such damaging reputation to this great nation. Now, before they wanted to arrest Senator Natasha Dwagan, who for me is a representation of the voices of women in the Nigerian legislative chambers at the National Assembly. They discovered that that tactics will not work. Now they are using all forms of defamation charges where they are still making other calculated plans to reduce and dampen our voice. So for me, it is a sad one. It is a sad one in the annals of our democracy. It does not reflect character. It does not reflect discipline. It does not reflect sanity. It does not reflect democratic tenets. It does not reflect a healthy reputation for Nigeria as a nation.
Thank you,
where a Senate president, I'm coming, sir. Where a Senate president will be having an issue with his fellow senator in the House, in the National House of Assembly. It doesn't make sense. So they should fix this issue. And they should not use a form of selective justice, because Nigerians are following this issue closely.
All right, thank you very much, comrade.
Ensure that the
we have to wrap it up. Thank you very much,
you.
comrade. All right, Dr. Anosike, I know you would have loved to say one or two, but it is, even our political party is silent, talking about PDP on this matter.
No, the issue is this. Why is it the federal government that is filing
this case? Yes, it's not looking like a government versus...
Because he didn't say anything against the federal government. He said that Akpabio withdrew his security. And when I have security and you withdraw it, you want to kill me. Understand me? Akpabio does not have immunity. Yahaya Bello don't have immunity. They can be sued and they can also sue. So why is government suing Natasha on behalf of them? So for me, it is meddlesomeness. It doesn't make any meaning.
All right, thank you very much.
This is a government of impunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anosike and Comrade Gosa, for being a part of the show this evening. Thank you for joining us tonight on the issues on Voice of the People TV. The stories we explored are more than headlines. They are the challenges and choices that will shape Nigeria's future. Stay informed, stay engaged, and keep your voice loud. We'll be back soon with more uncensored, in-depth discussions on the issues that matter most to you. Until then, I am Jerry Apelihai. Good night and God bless Nigeria.